Hello. Welcome to the next day for Festival Tech Calendar. And today we have day 30. Thank you to the organizers and especially to Gregor and the whole of the team in the background and creating the website and making a session nice link for call for paper and all of this. So I'm very happy to present on day 30 a very little session between Christmas and the New Year party, and I'm very happy to present this session. So let's start to present. I start with the Microsoft Cloud Europe. And I will tell you something about the announcements in the last weeks, what happened, and talking a little bit about the Microsoft Cloud here in Europe. So this is an introduction session, so you will learn a lot about the cloud, what is happening, and how you can choose products, and how you can handle the contracts and all of this. So let's talk about the Microsoft Cloud in Europe, and hopefully you see this. This is a beautiful picture from Italy, from Rome. So back to me. My name is Raphael Koellner. I'm working for an international company called BDO, and I'm working here for the German one called BDO Digital as an executive consultant, and I'm working with international and also European customers in different areas. My topics are compliance, cybersecurity, security, and also all of the regulations, contracts, and I'm combining the law parts and the IT parts. So yeah, I'm very happy. I'm also one of the Microsoft Regional Directors, Microsoft MVP for Office Apps and Services, and also Windows Insider MVP. I have a blog, you can see here. You can go to my blog, write me an email, or send me a tweet via Twitter. That's all what I see and what I react. And also, between the days between Christmas and New Year, you can send me an email or send me a tweet. That's all fine. And I have also some communities here in Germany. I'm from Germany, so the Azure Saturday in Cologne, or SharePoint Saturday, or Azure Meetup in Cologne. So you can join us and let's talk about Azure and also about Office 365. And I'm also a part of some communities and for example, the Team Datenschutz, it's a team for data privacy, Gdpr, and all of this. So, yeah, I'm very happy to combine the law and the IT stuff. So let's go to the next slide and see what we're talking about today. We want to talk about today about a little bit about introduction, then the past, present, and future of Microsoft data centers in Europe, and also a very good question: find the right services. I will talk a little bit about my last session in the last weeks with some students via Microsoft Teams. So let's see what happened, and also a little bit about best practices. So let's start in a little introduction. The word is digital, and you see here three parts or three colors in the world, and I'm traveling before the COVID crisis around the world with Ignite the Tour and some other parts for my company also. And I love to travel and I see some parts of the world. But today we can't travel, but we can see more and more people because with this tech calendar or other community events around the world with Microsoft Teams or Zoom or other messenger and video conference services, you can meet other people around the world. So that's very cool, and it's for me it's a very high and very good thing to see that the world is digital like this, with a lot of good bandwidth, with internet connection, with video conferencing tools and all of this. So let's have a look a little bit on the economic side of the world, and we have EMEA, that's both parts of North US and South. For example, South in Brazil, there's a data center and they announced the second one. And also we have the US, we have US West as one of the biggest data centers for Azure. And when we have the next, we go to APAC. APEC, you know, there are some very good data centers, and they announced also some new data centers. We have a data center, for example, Hong Kong, and they announced some also in New Zealand. But let's go to Europe, and Europe is a part of EMEA. And yeah, we know that there were announced data centers in Tel Aviv, and also there were announced and roll out data centers, for example, in Joburg, so in South Africa, and we have some here in Dubai. And in these areas, so we have in EMEA part, we have in Tel Aviv one, we have in South Africa one, and we have on this side in Dubai, and in this area we have data centers of Microsoft. And then yes, we have Europe, and today we will talk more about Europe. So I zoom a little bit into Europe, make it bigger. So this is Europe, and yeah, UK is a part of Europe. They will leave with the Brexit at the end of the year, but they stay a part of Europe. So we talked about Europe as a part of EMEA, and you see, yeah, that's a circle. Yeah, it's some of Russia is in it, but we talk about Europe. We talk about these part of the world, and let's have a deeper look about to talk about data centers, Microsoft strategy, and what happened. And the first good thing is to talk a little bit about the cloud model. So Microsoft is starting, and go a little bit back to the other slide. Microsoft is starting to create data centers in US. For example, US West, and starting to create data centers, said, okay, we will shift from local data centers to centralized data centers, to have services centralized in these data centers. And we have a lot of internet connections and bandwidths to these data centers, and we start centralized in this area. And we switching from a typical model. We have, for example, for 10 years, typically we have a local server, Windows server, for example. We have local machines, and we have services running local in our local data centers from every company. And then Microsoft is talking about, okay, let's shifting to cloud, like other cloud provider, like Amazon, like Google Cloud, like Alibaba, also in China. And they switch also the shared responsible model. So this is the first thing we have to learn. We have this model, and we have a local part, for example. That's what I'm talking about. This is here. In this local part, the customer, or for example, me as a company, we have to have the physical security, the host infrastructure, the network controls, the application level control, identity access, client security, and all of this. And more we have a look to infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. And one of the biggest ones is, yeah, we starting with Office 365, and Office 365 is a software as a service. And that is really clear. So we see that in a lot of these data centers we can buy and use Office 365. And also in the beginning, yeah, we have infrastructure as a service and platform as a service. So it started with local, then switching to infrastructure, and then platform and software as services and infrastructure, for example. The most of the companies that, and today also, they are switching with their local servers to infrastructure as a service, so moving their Windows servers, for example, into the cloud, and then starting in the next step to platform and then to software as a service. For example, identity provider, at first they have their local Active Directory, and then moving to Azure Active Directory, and then they have only Azure Active Directory for identity services, helping, for example, with their cybersecurity, and all of this make it a little bit easier to handle all of the rules and data. So this is the movement from local to software as a service. Today, more and more people using software as a service tools, not using Office 365, also SQL Server or web apps, and all of this is possible with Microsoft Azure. And this is very, very interesting. We have a lot of discussion about it because with this shared responsible model, we have to fulfill a lot of rules. And I want to talk about the rules. We are talking worldwide about it. And this is GDPR, data privacy. And starting, yes, with GDPR in Europe, 2018. And it starts here with GDPR. And yes, we are talking about personal data, and we're talking about to handle and proceed and delete personal and store and retain personal data of European citizens. But also we have a lot of other regulations around the world to handle with personal data. For example, in USA, we have the California Consumer Act. We have it here, and we have also some other acts like HIPAA, and when we have a look in the nearest future, this is missing here. We have a look to Turkey, for example, where they have very stricted regulations for handling personal data. But let's stay to GDPR, and GDPR was a big bang in the world when it was announced in Europe, and everyone wants to handle data and handle data from people they are living in Europe. So a lot of people, and just influencing a lot of people around the world. So a lot of companies and people are handling GDPR rules today, and this is very, very impressive, because when we have a look into the Microsoft strategy, they announced at the beginning of 2020 that they invest $1 billion in the next 5 years to fulfill more and more GDPR rules. Yes, it's a big discussion, and we have judgments, and we have different laws in different countries. But this is very, very interesting that Microsoft sees these these challenges about GDPR and handling data privacy. But not only GDPR, we need to look to China, to Russia, to North Korea, and also to Mexico, for example, to Brazil. So we have these regulations around the world, and this brings me to the next point. So we were starting at the beginning as we centralize all of the data services, for example, in USA, and everyone can give money to Microsoft and can have a service out of the USA and can use a service in Europe, for example, but it proceed in the USA. But starting with GDPR and all of the rules, the companies want that the data will proceed in their country or proceed in Europe, for example. So we have a movement in the strategy from central to local. So, for example, at first we have all of the data in only a few data centers around the world. And now Microsoft is starting, since the last 5 years, starting also with Microsoft Government or Closed Cloud, Microsoft MCD, Microsoft Cloud Deutschland or Microsoft Cloud Germany, also to build more and more local data centers. So when we have a look at it, and it's very interesting when we have a look at it, what happened today. And this is very interesting because when you have a deeper look here, also in US and Central Mexico, we will have new data centers. We are talking about Brazil, and they also announced Chile with North Central as a new region in this part of the world. I'm talking about South Africa and also Tel Aviv, Israel Central, about the region here. And also we see that we will get new data centers in Taiwan, and we get one, and greetings to my friends in New Zealand, to Paul, for example, that they get their own data center here in New Zealand. They don't have to use the Australian ones, they get their own region. So we get more and more regions, but you see here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And when we have a look here in the European region, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have around here in this area 8 new announcements, and we have in this year, 2020 is the year of the European cloud, because we got more and more regions, we get more and more services moved from the US to Europe. For example, Azure AD, we are talking about the identity management. The identity management before it moved at the end of last year to Europe, it was also a part. So we have two regions here, and we have a third region as a technical reason in the US. So then they moved it to Europe only. So we have identity control only in Europe. That's one of the parts. We get more and more services that roll out in Europe. So we don't need to proceed data in US, or we don't need to proceed data in other regions on the world. We have Europe, and we got more and more data centers, regions on the one side, and also services. And for me, it's important to get services because that's for me fine when we have for 5 big data centers in Europe, but Microsoft and the customer, there's the customer wish, and I talked to a lot of customers, said, now we need data centers in our region. So they announced Poland, Austria, Greek, Spain, Italy, Denmark, Sweden, and also the new ones in Germany. We have the Microsoft Cloud Deutschland, the 49, the Germany Northeast, and also we have Germany Central, and they will shut down in the next year, 2021, but we will have the global data centers, Germany North, and also Germany West Central. So we have Berlin and Frankfurt as big data centers, and all of the companies have to move from the closed cloud, I call it closed cloud, or 49 cloud, or government cloud, or whatever, move to the global version. And the global version is connected to all of the data centers around the world. We have only one data center, that's a government cloud, and this is a government cloud in US. This is a very closed cloud, but the other ones worldwide are very open. Okay, last hint, China. Yes, we have in China. This is the part before they built Germany closed cloud. We have a nearly closed cloud here in China, but let's talking about Europe, back to Europe. So we will get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, Israel is Europe too. So we get 8 data centers new, and we will lose 2 ones, the 2 ones in Germany, the closed ones, but we will get, we will have today, we have today 2 data centers in Europe. So that's very interesting when we have a view on this map. This is a current map with all of the announcements. We see Europe is one of the focused areas in this world for Microsoft to build more and more data centers. And if you compare it with Amazon and also Google, we see that Microsoft has the most regions and most data centers in Europe, but also Amazon, also Google announced new data centers in Europe. So we see a little red line that more and more data center will be announced and will be built here in Europe. But here in Europe, not in every country, in the most countries, for example, where we don't see today data centers are, for example, in Turkey, we don't see it, or on the Balkan states, we can see data center, or in the smallest one like Luxembourg, but we see more and more now in Denmark, Sweden, Austria, Poland, and all of this. So that's very cool to see. We get more and more data centers to proceed data here. So let's have a deeper look, and I want to give you a little hint what happened in this data center. So, and what is with these regions? And for me, it was a very good question. I'm talking about with some customers, and also for me, I have a look on the map and see, okay, there are different regions and different data centers, and then I read the word paired regions. I said, okay, that's cool. I want to learn more about paired regions, availability zones, and what happened in this area. We have a look here at paired regions, and this is really cool, because when you have a look here at this map, so when we have a look at this map, these paired regions are regions. So we have 2 regions. We see the regions in the map. For example, we're talking about Germany. Go back. Let's move to the other slide back. One slide back. We see here, for example, go in, and we talked about, for example, 2 regions, the German North Public and German West Central Public. Or we talking about, this is the oldest one, North Europe And West Europe, or we're talking about North Europe, West Europe, so we have Dublin and Amsterdam with a new clean energy concept. They are paired regions, so they have a region with a data center in it, and the region is paired and the geography is it's paired together, and that's very interesting when we have a deeper look what means paired. Yeah, it's disaster recovery, for example. That's very important also for me. That's disaster recovery. For example, the data center island has any issues, or there's a big fire, or a lot of water, and then the backup and recovery data center is Amsterdam. So we have these two parts. And if we have a deeper look into what means paired, and you see it here, you have, for example, the primary region. In this part, it's Ireland, and second region is Amsterdam. But in the future, yeah, you can't say it really, because in the future also Amsterdam can be the primary region. For Germany, it's very clear that Frankfurt is the primary region, Berlin is the second region. But here, let's have a look at the slides. We have VMs together. We have storage across that. We have a backup here. Also, we have data and SQL Server and all of this in the second region. The second region is more than 300 miles. Yeah, that's also very good to get the certificates, the ISO certificates. And we have also managed services here, and we have the recovery part and also the update part, so that Microsoft can guarantee that your services and also the infrastructure, your server, will be working in this region. That's really cool, and you can also create your VMs, for example, also in this region. You can make Azure backups in this region, and that's really cool. That's the first part you have to learn. We have regions we talked about, and we have paired regions, so regions they come together. Can you choose? That's the question I get. Can you choose the paired region? No, you can't choose. You can't say I want Ireland is paired with a central Microsoft central Microsoft in Germany, for example, Frankfurt, or with Paris, or with Switzerland, with Zurich. No, that's not possible. So Microsoft has paired regions and created paired regions. And when we have a look a little bit deeper here on this side, so we have paired regions, for example, North and West Europe. And when we have a look on the other slide, you see here I have a list for you. And here's the official list of paired regions you have for Europe, Ireland, and West Europe. Netherlands, so Amsterdam, that's what we're talking about. In France, we have France Central and France South. We have Germany Central, Germany Northeast, the public one. Norway, we have Norway East, Norway West. Switzerland North, Switzerland West. UK West, UK South. Austria Central 2. So you see here, A is a primary region, B is a secondary region, and for Amsterdam, yeah, often I see that official it's a secondary region, but often, yeah, you can have you can handle Office 365, for example, out of the second region, and Dublin and Ireland can be the second region, but official, this is the official list here. I have also links for you, so you get the video and also the slides, so you can follow the links and get more information. But it's very interesting and very important to know. We have all of these regions and data centers, and we have data centers in every region, and we have a region pair, and this is a region pair, for example, in Germany Central and Germany Northeast, Frankfurt and Berlin, and we have these in the geography area. And that is the biggest comparing part of the data centers. When we got a little bit closer, we have availability zones. So we have ability zones, ability services, ability redundant services. That is also very important, for example, for backup and storage. Also for I use it also for SQL Server databases and SQL Server parts. And that's, for me, it's you have availability zones, the same like in AWS, or nearly the same like in AWS. And here you can put your storage into, and you have in Azure, in every Azure regions, you have availability zones. That's a smaller part of paired regions, but it's combined with paired regions. So it's very interesting because in these availability zones, you can handle your services, your virtual machines, You have standard IP addresses. So that's really cool that you have, for example, every time you have 3 availability zones, and you can say, for example, I create a virtual machine in this availability zone, or for me, I create a storage in this availability zone and another storage in the other availability zone. And make a backup here locally, or the geographic backup with the other data center. So that's really, really cool. So we have go back. So we have paired regions, and paired regions are paired together for backup reasons, for example. And then we have ability zones in these Azure regions. So go back. We have here the regions with the data centers, and in these regions we have also availability zones. Not every region today has a availability zone, but the most of it. For example, in Germany, we have it today. Also in Dublin, Ireland, and also you can choose availability zones. And this is really, really cool, because also the redundant services we have here, for example, storages and SQL Server. That's also the most I use here in these availability zones. So we have a higher availability of the services, and we have the services paired in this region together in this availability zones. That's really, really cool. Here also the links, and you see the regions and availability zones. And we have one more. Okay, is it for real very important? No, but you have to know it. We have Azure Edge zones. You have it, for example, with your local provider, or with Azure Stack Edge. And also with internet. That's for today. It's possible more for example, for New York. Is it available in Europe? There's no announcement. I cannot remember. So we have it at first in US, and it's also, you can deploy VMs, container, and all of the services into this edge zone for low latency and high throughput requirements for applications. And that's the very cool thing, for example, also for Kubernetes, also for VMs, IoT Edge. And I see it's more and more for IoT Edge. That's really cool, and combined it with devices and SIM services and bandwidth provider. And we see it here also, Telefonica out of Europe. And there's a huge contract also with Vodafone. So we see European phone provider and provider here. So I hope it comes to Europe in the next years. So very cool. And the other one announced on the last conferences, we have Azure Orbital, that we have orbital satellites we can use to connect and have a download link. And that's also very, very cool. I have a view in it, but today in Europe, I have a look today, and the documentation also asking a little bit with the Microsoft Product Group. I see today it's not possible also for Europe. It's only in US. So these are today available for US, and hopefully in the next years or months also available in Europe. And we have also one. So we have the zones, the regions, the edge zones, the Azure Orbital into the space. And we have also one, and I want to give you a hint here. It's Project Netric, and that's really cool. Microsoft said, okay, let's try to put servers into these box. Put this box underwater, and let's see what happened, how it works, how the server will working. And how much of the server will be destroyed, for example, in the water, and how long we can help with this. And the project ends, or the project donor ends, the test time period ends in this year. And here's a link to the project site, and this is really, really cool. This is a picture out of the official pictures when they take these construct out of the water on this platform, and have a look into this box. And it's very cool that only, I think I can remember, 20% of the server you can't use it anymore. For this time period, normally are 30 to 40% in normal data center, so it's very cool, and they don't need so much energy, and it's very cool to say, okay, if I have a sea or water or a river nearby me, you can order this one, put it into the water, and you have a data center very close nearby you. So from centralized to local, and there's a very cool a very cool blog on the site. You can see that, for example, for the COVID pandemic, they need a lot of power and a lot of cloud power, and so they use this project also, and help this to fight against the pandemic, and this is really cool. And they so go on this blog and read a little bit more, and that's one of my hints today. Watch also next hint, inside data centers, and I can start it a little bit here. Hopefully stop the audio, but this is also from Ignite 2020, and there's also very, very interesting here. We're starting with edge zones and Azure Orbital, and have a deeper look into what happened into the data centers. I talked to you some minutes before, but it's a very, very good video to have a look, for example, about the regions, and I talked about the region ability zones, and that is a really good one to start with Azure, and looking about information about availability zones, regions, and what happened with the energy. And for example, here we see the windmills they are using, for example, for Amsterdam, to have 100% renewable energy to use for the data centers. That's really cool, and that's what happened also in Europe. You don't see here Europe anymore, but that's also happened in Europe. So this is also a good hint. Watch the video and learn a little bit more. It's called Inside Data Centers, so that's a really cool one. So from data centers and region availability zones, paired regions, Azure Orbital, and all of this, let's talk a little bit about contracts. We have some contracts like open or select contracts. We have MPSR and BSA. We have also cloud providers, cloud solution provider contracts, CSP, for example, from a lot of Microsoft partners. We have tier 1 and tier 2 CSP provider. We have the enterprise agreement for a lot of huge enterprise companies they're using, and there's also pay as you go, or like credit cards that, for example, I use also for my website to hosting it and use a credit card. So we have a lot of contracts here, and I have a little bit deeper look. We have all of these contracts we can use for Azure in these regions. So was the first one, was a little bit the technical part, and have a look at regions and all of this. And now we have a look at the contract part. And when we have a look here, we have Microsoft. And Microsoft is offering you can have a Windows Server, for example, your identity management. You can have a storage, for example, in a region, and you want to have it. Yeah, the way is most of the people starting with a credit card. I said, okay, pay as you go. Okay, I pay for this what I need and what I used, and pay for it. And then you mostly go to a CSP partner, to a Microsoft partner, said, okay, I have an idea, for example, for a startup, or my company want to switch to Azure now. Can you help me? And can you help me with a better price and payments and all of this? So we do this, and then you go to a Microsoft partner, and this is a typical one. From Microsoft to a Microsoft partner, they have agreements about the Microsoft Cloud, also programmable for CSP, and prices and payments. Oh, this is in German, but prices and payments. It's the same from the direct partner, as a Microsoft partner, to the customer, to you. And we have also contracts between partner and end customer, and also prices and payments. And also we have the Microsoft Cloud contracts, Microsoft Online terms, product terms, SLA, and all of these guarantees you how long you have access to your data, how long the application works, how the storage works, and all of this you can remember as a part of this shared responsible model I'm talking before about. And let's have a switch to the responsible model. And here you see you have this responsible, the contract based on this. So it's very interesting to read the contract. So if you have time now, it's very cool. Go to Bing and look for volume licensing contracts, for example, for the OSTs, the Microsoft Online Service Terms. And that's really cool to have a look here, to talk about it and to have a really nice view on the contracts. But yeah, it's a little bit complicated today because with the DPA attachment, all of this. But let's switch back to this. So to these contract architecture, and we go back, and you can see here the contract architecture, and yeah, you have a contract with the direct partner and also a contract with Microsoft with the OSTs. If you have an EA, you have a direct contract to Microsoft with the enterprise agreement. Mostly the other agreements, mostly you have a direct partner, so a Microsoft partner. You get the bill from Microsoft partner, but with enterprise agreement you get it from Microsoft. 3 years contract, and every year you can change parts of the contract, for example. And you have these Microsoft Cloud contracts, Microsoft Online terms, PSA, product terms, SLA, also DPA, and the DPA attachment for GDPR, data privacy rules, and all of this. And you have also M contracts. M contracts are additional contracts to the typical contract set. This is a typical set. So we have M contracts, for example, for handling data in Norway. There was a very old one, telemetry and diagnostic data, but these are very, very old ones. So mostly the DPA attachment in the typical contracts are the right way to handle the data, to handle contracts with the data in the Azure data centers. And the other way, you have the chance to have individual contracts, like also binding rules. It's also part with data privacy, but this is very, very only I know 2 or 3 companies that have individual contracts. So you need to be a very huge company. So normally no. And then mostly I see distribution contracts, for example, Microsoft Germany, France, Spain, or like this in Europe. So these are the typical architecture of a Microsoft contract when you want to use services out of the regions, or out of the availability zones, out of your region. Then you have the contract, and yes, starting with the credit card. This is also directly between Microsoft and the end customer or the customer. And then you go bigger and bigger, and then or you want to change your company to Microsoft, or switch to Microsoft from your local data center to Microsoft, then go to a Microsoft partner and to a CSP partner and handle with them. That's a very interesting question I got last time. Is every Microsoft Cloud services handled with a CSP contract? No. It's every cloud service product handled via an EA, an enterprise agreement? No. So it can be that some of these services we can host in these regions, you need other contracts. So you have a mix out of contracts, and when we have a look back here, we have mostly in enterprise companies, we have CSP and we have enterprise agreement. This is for enterprise companies. I make an E behind it. It's not very cool here, but it's okay. We have an E here. But for smaller companies, KMU and all of this, we have pay-as-you-go. And sometimes we have an MPSA or cloud solution provider. So these are the main contracts, and these are for the biggest ones, and this is for the smallest ones. We have these contracts combination, because not every service you want to book or want to use out of the regions is possible with every contract. So, and for example, not this, so pay-as-you-go with credit card is also not the cheapest way. So you have to combine the contracts like you combine the products out of the region. So this is a next very good learning effect. If we talk about the Microsoft Azure Cloud, we have to talk about the regions, we have to talk about what happened in the regions, and we have to talk about the contracts. So payment, the other very good topic we have to talk. So have a look a little bit more into my architecture slides, and when you're here to see, okay, we have Microsoft Corporation, Microsoft Irland, and we have the customer. Then, for example, this is the closed cloud in Germany. We'll close in the next year. We have the T-Systems as a data trustee, the T-Systems International GmbH here. But yeah, this is the old one. You don't have to learn it. What's better? This one. This is the global for Germany, for example. That's the same for Switzerland, for France, for not for Spain. Spain will have only one, but for Austria, for Norway, you can say, okay, we have these default data centers, these paired data centers, Frankfurt and Berlin, and we have a third one that's of Dublin or Amsterdam, because most of the non-regional services are hosted in Dublin. For example, also Microsoft Teams at the beginning is hosted in Dublin before it will host it, for example, in Frankfurt. So the most of the Azure services, the newest ones will be hosted in Dublin and then comes to the regions. That is the third part you have to learn. First part is, okay, what is data centers? What are availability zones? What are the contracts? And the third one is have a look at the product. Which product will be hosted in which region? We have a look in the next minutes at it after these contract parts. So we have the contract part and the part also Microsoft partner here. Help you, and this is a typical architecture, for example, for Germany, and we have for EU, we have also a typical one, but I talked to you that we can erase, for example, the US data center, and I use the pen and I erase this data center, for example. This is not you don't have to use it. You can use it, for example, when you have some special cognitive services or when you have some services that are non-region services. Yeah, you have products like Windows Virtual Desktop that are non-region service. And this service, you need US data centers, but and for the most of the services today, like web apps, Azure storages, and all of this, you can handle it in Europe only. But for some products, you need US data center. But I deleted here because more and more products are only available in Dublin, Amsterdam, or in your local region. That is really cool. And one more, and this is a very, very interesting one. You have the typical contracts, and you have a part of these contracts are the subcontracts. So this is very interesting, the subcontractor. And have a look here at the subcontractor, and you see you have a lot of subcontractor that helps Microsoft to proceed the Azure cloud and to handle with the data and to help, for example, with different services. And you see here we have some in Czech Republic for customer and technical support. We have BizDirect in Portugal for operation and services maintenance. And these lists mostly one time in a year, 2 times in a year will actualize. So you see more and more people, more and more companies working there. For example, we have also Germany, Avato Digital Services, LLC, customer and technical support. So you see who is supporting and handling with your data. So you see also you have the customer, you have primary and secondary, and this is the paired ones, and we have Microsoft Corporation, and all of these are together. And here you see the default ones here, Microsoft Irland for licensing and also for support, and also support as Microsoft Corporation. So you have a very huge contract structure, like a technical structure. That's very cool. So let's have a look at the region and announcements, and then a little bit have a look at the product. So I have a look at the very past screenshots of Windows Azure. The first time Microsoft Azure was here, and it was the 1st February 2010. You see here it was before it called Project Red Dog, and now it was available at this date for 12 countries. and also a lot of countries in Germany. Austria, Belgium, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Ireland, Italy, Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, Spain, UK, Switzerland, Sweden. So the focus that we saw in the last years and the new announcements of new data centers is not a very young one, it's a very old one. So from the beginning, Microsoft is focusing Europe with their services and data. So have a look at 2019. I have found a very old screenshot. So this in German, but you see we have some few data centers, but you see 2019 that's starting with announcement more and more data centers in Europe. So you see the announcements are only in Europe. We have some here in this area, but the most in Europe too, like today. You see it also here today. You have the most ones in Europe, and more. They're beginning in the middle and go a little bit outside. So Spain, Greek, Poland, Sweden, and before 2019 was Norway, US, in Germany, and all of this. So you see, starting in the middle of Germany, the middle of Europe, and go outside with the new regions. So you see a little bit the strategy of creating new data centers and creating new regions. And here you see when you have Europe on the website, and you have a look at the website. Go back. Have a look at the website. You see here that Frankfurt, Berlin, Magdeburg, and also Frankfurt. And you see also that the year went open 2016, the MCD, and the MCD is closed next year, 2021. So everyone has to move to the public ones. So we have the public ones, and that's really cool because the public ones are connected to the Microsoft Worldwide network, and to also connected to the Microsoft services worldwide, and also to all of the new products. So we can use, we have no limits, nearly no limits here, but this is really, really cool. So you see here also Austria, Denmark, Europe, Greece, Italy. So more and more data centers will come. And so we see and have a little bit faster. New in Spain, announced at the beginning of this year, cooperation with Telefonica. We have Italy in May 2020, 1.5 billion investment for Italy. With also Azure, Microsoft 365, Power Platform, and Dynamics. That is a default one that's in every new region. We have also Greek on 5th of October 2020 this year, rollout 2025. And also we have Austria, and you see the links in the blog post, rollout 2024. And we have also Sweden, rollout with new 2 data centers next year, or they try to open it next year. Hopefully it works. And then Denmark, also 2024. And when we have an overview about the announcements, the start, the costs, and the professional for Microsoft, in the most of the articles and blog posts, have a look, okay, when we announce and when we start. So we have from 2 to 4 or 5 years. So we see a little bit the plan. So starting with Sweden, then Italy, and then Spain, Austria, Denmark, and Greek. And you, in some of these articles, you see the costs or the investments, and the 1.5 billions of 5 years in Italy, 2.1 billions in Austria, to 1.25 billions in Sweden. And this is a professional they want to handle with, and they want to give the cloud infrastructure the professionals, and also they have some numbers about the companies. For example, in Austria, they are talking about 10,000 companies. They need the Azure services. That's a little bit the marketing plan, or the plan to earn money in this country with the investments. And you see a little bit how much money they need to build a new data center. So they have investment costs and start costs for every data center. But it's very cool that you see, okay, Europe is a very important region, and they invest the most of the money in Europe. And not only in Europe, in these countries where they invest, and I told you they invest in GDPR, in data privacy, to 2025, $1 billion in GDPR, and this announcement of $1 billion, you can find it in every announcement this year. It's one of the last sentences, so that's really, really cool. 1 billion more to be GDPR compliant. So that's really cool. And when you have a look at the world, and for example, we have a deeper look into Microsoft Teams before we have a little bit look into the products. We have also Microsoft Teams as a software as a service, and it's hosted in every country, in every region. No. You see here the map, and you see, yes, we get more and more Microsoft Teams data residency regions in Europe. Yes, that's also planned. We get more, and we have some few other around the world. So that's also part of the regulation, data privacy, and all of these parts. We are very, strong, and it's very hard here in Europe. So we got more and more data residency from Microsoft Teams, for example, here in Europe. It's also one of the parts I will tell you. We have more, the 21 or the 21, 22, 22, 20, 2020. 2020 and 21 and 22 will be the year of Europe with Azure Data Center and Azure Services, and that's because I want to go to the websites to find the right product, and let's have a look here. Yeah, and you see I'll have a lot of tabs here opened, and here you see that's very cool. What I do here, show Germany and nearby regions. And you can choose, and that's what I make a screenshot, and that's really cool that you see what is available in your region. What I find is choose the right product a little bit to your regions, and that's also really cool. For example, you go to Germany. No, I don't want to show back. I want to go back and have a look here at products by regions, and that's really cool. These are one of my favorite sites, and we come, for example, we have a look at Azure storage, where we have storage. I want storage, the storage account, and you see here. I've select some in Germany, France, Switzerland, Norway, Europe. Europe is Ireland and United Kingdom. That's okay. And you see here, okay, storage accounts are nearly in every part it's possible. Archive storages also in France, Switzerland, and also here we have Switzerland, Norway, and all of this is really cool. But you see also we have some non-regional services, for example, import and export ones, and that's the same, for example, for Windows Virtual Desktop. When you have a look here, that's what I'm talking to you. Going only Windows Virtual Desktops. You see here, no. So it is a non-regional service. So yes, if you deploy Windows Virtual Desktop, it will be deployed in the regions where it is possible. For example, it's possible in where we have Europe. I deployed it in Europe. In the last year, Europe here. Go for it. I deployed in North Europe, for example. It's also, you can run the VMs in public in Germany North, for example, or Germany West. This is really cool, but the service is non-regional. So you see it also, the telemetry is a non-regional one, is proceed in US, and that's a difference. As you have to talk about virtual machines also. This is the third one I want to show you: storage, Windows Virtual Desktop, and I want to show you virtual machines. Where are the virtual machines? Here, virtual machines, and that's the next one. So not every service is possible in every region and in every availability zone. So we have Azure storage is available in every region. We have some non-regional services like import and export, but the rest is available everywhere. Windows Virtual Desktop is a non-region services, but when you have a deeper look, yes, it's deployed Windows Virtual Desktop in Germany too, or in Europe, or in France, or in Switzerland. That's also possible, but it's non-regional because of the telemetry and some of the data will be received in the US. So one more step to virtual machines. That's the other one. You see here that not every virtual machine is possible to use in every region. And we have a look here in France, for example, and South France. So you see that Microsoft don't deploy older ones in every regions, for example, or deploy the biggest ones, for example, for SAP, the G series for SAP in North Europe and West Europe. Yes, it's for SAP. Also, Germany Central was the reason is for SAP HANA. But in the other ones, for example, in France, also, let's have a look here a little bit to the other side. You see here G series, also in US East, UK South. So nearby the companies they want to handle and want to use it. So it's also the cloud and the products are economy model from Microsoft. So they deploy data centers in the regions and they deploy products, and not every product in every region. They deploy products in the region where it's make it possible. For example, there are companies they need it, or there are companies said, okay, for example, I need 3000 G series VMs for SAP HANA. Okay, Microsoft, and I deploy it. So talk to your account manager, talk to your to a Microsoft partner nearby. Then they said, okay, I need these SAP HANA here for large instances. You see it here. It's also your own machine. It's possible in US Europe, for example. This is really cool. So if you don't find the product here in the list, you go to your account manager, go to your Microsoft partner, and have a look at it. Last one, and this is the end of a little bit the end of the session. That's really cool because we talked about the regions, we talked about the availability zones, we talked about the contracts, and that the contracts for Microsoft Europe has different parts. For example, DPA is available for everyone, but we have a part of the DPA, the additional safeguards for EU model clauses. They are part of the European one, so you have some special parts of Europe, and you have the subcontractors, and you have a lot of good you have a lot of contracts as a bundle of contracts. And then we talked about products, and that every product is available in every region, every data center, and that's really cool when we have a look here. And I love it at the end to see where's the global network. And hopefully you remember 2-3 years back, that Microsoft together with Facebook created and built a new line between UK and US for more bandwidth, for more capability and capacity, for more data, to move more data from Europe to US and US to Europe. So it's very cool, and you see here the network. And you can use this network, for example, with CDN. You can use this network to store data for your website. That's really, 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 really cool, because that's also one of the side. Because I don't love the closed clouds, because the closed clouds are not connected to this network. But the other clouds, and Microsoft building only public clouds in Europe, and you see it here. You have a network of global network here, and you can use it. You can send data via this network very, very fast into other regions. You have also edge sites here, and you see here availability zones are available. See here some in Europe are available, also in US, and also, for example, here in Austria, and also here in Joburg in South Africa. So that's really, really cool. And you have these networks, you have CDN. Also, you can book for third-party companies CDN networks to make it faster. And also that's really, really cool. And you see here is also aligned to Russia. So hopefully we will get new data centers also in Russia and also here in this region. And but that's very cool. So let's hope and see what happened in the future, and what happened in the future with all of the products and with Microsoft in Europe. So I'm very happy to be here. and go to my last slide, and then my session ends. And yeah, I'm very, very happy to be here. If you have any questions or want to talk with me, send me an email, send me a tweet. I hope you enjoy these sessions, these, little introduction session with some information about, and also talking a little bit about Teams resistancy, availability zones, edge zones, about a lot of new data centers. And we have a look. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 new regions announced in Europe 2020. So the next years to 2021 will be the European years of Microsoft Azure. And hopefully not only regions, we will get, hopefully this for Microsoft, we will get also the products in Europe. So we want the products in Europe will be handled and proceed in Europe only. So thank you very much for your patience, and thank you very much that you see your session. Have a lot of fun, and see the next 2 days, and the next one day with the calendar. And I'm very happy to be here, and say goodbye and bye-bye. Day 30 with the Microsoft Cloud in Europe. Bye-bye.